the more that Bitcoin is going to preempt the move of money printing. And also, I think tech and AI stocks are in the same boat as well. Anything that doesn't need a bank loves financial crisis. Tech companies don't need banks. They have essentially infinite profit margins once they've created really good software. And they don't need to finance their CapEx through the banking system. They love printed money. Crypto is the antithesis to the TradFi system. When printed money happens and you debase, the value of time and human labor, we rejoice and we say, great, fuck you, we're going to take Bitcoin to 1 million, right? So I think these are the two sectors that will, even if there is a financial crisis, will be very well owned and will probably preempt the eventual money printing response.
So it sounds like from speaking to you now that the next bull market could possibly come from the repercussions of what we see across America now. Is that the case, or are you expecting the bull market to also come from other factors?
And there's also the halvening, and people have a lot of theories about how that affects mining supply. But I think, and there's also sort of like, does crypto fit in with AI? I know I've been out there pushing that sort of narrative, like an AI needs to use decentralized money and decentralized compute power, decentralized storage solutions, if they're really to be a pure economic actor that sits outside of, how we humans do things. So that's a potential vector as well. And then, yes, I think that we're going to print the most amount of money ever in human history in the next, 2 to 4 years, because we have a lot of elections coming up. And, how do you get reelected? You give people free shit that they don't pay for in an obvious fashion. They always pay for it. Inflation or taxes, choose one. And then we have a lot of wars. Wars are very inflationary. Everybody around the world is increasing the defense budget to throw bombs at each other. And, then we have the money printing to pay for the war, right? So it's all building itself into a super cycle of technology and money printing that I think is going to make this particular crypto bull market the biggest one that we've seen in terms of gains of $1 trillion of market cap that is, all of a sudden going to be present in our little ecosystem. We need to get into an asset that protects it. Rather than them actually owning Bitcoin, there'll be a conduit for them to invest in, spot ETFs listed in Hong Kong that are run by Chinese asset managers, which are owned by the Chinese government. So the people think that they're escaping the financial ruin of a fiat debasement, but they're actually just handing their money to a government proxy and the money stays in the system. And it's the same thing in the US, which with the BlackRock ETF, that is a proxy for the US government. If the US government ever needs to go and confiscate all that Bitcoin or change the rules and sequester it and make sure you can never take it out, stroke of a pen, there you go. And there's no more Bitcoin that's accessible in those investment products. So same product, same aim, different packaging, different marketing.
We have to dive into the spot Bitcoin ETFs a little. First of all, how many times do you think you've said the word spot Bitcoin ETF so far this year? Because I know people have been quizzing you on it a lot.
It's great. I mean, I think it's a great thing that we've created this new financial system, and for 15 years, it was ignored. The Winklevi twins filed their first ETF application in 2013.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they got one in the end. 10 years later, Larry Fink files his in June of 2023. 6 months later, he gets an ETF, right? And so that tells you all you need to know about what this ETF is and who is behind it. Is it a crypto native thing to help, expand the financial freedom of the world? Absolutely not. Is it a way to sequester fiat dollars that want to earn a return in fiat using what they think is new technology? Absolutely. It's a trading product. It makes fees for BlackRock and Fidelity and all the other major asset managers who've scooped up. I mean, you probably know the numbers better than me, however many billions in AUM over the last 4 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So it's been the most successful ETF launch in capital markets history. That should also tell you what is the problem that it's supposedly trying to solve, which is, a global race to how much money can we print. And it's not an American issue, it's not a China issue. It's everybody's doing the same thing at the same time. And this is just one way for the authorities to try to control where that fiat goes. Because if you actually buy real Bitcoin, then it's out of their purview. But if you buy a BlackRock or a China AMC ETF, perfectly within their view to see what's going on, who owns what, and make sure that when the time comes, that money is subject to taxation via inflation as well.
Is there a risk that we're killing Bitcoin? with the surge of traffic for spot Bitcoin ETFs, institutional demand coming through, is Bitcoin still the money of the people?
I think so. And again, I don't think the response, if you're afraid of BlackRock and some of these other managers, is to say we need to ban them from owning Bitcoin. That's not how Bitcoin works. It's a permissionless system. Anyone who wants to own it for any purpose is allowed to do so. If we want to maintain the progress of super hard crypto money, then we're going to have to become active. The best part about owning Bitcoin and why the community is so strong is because people care about it and they do things. Now, BlackRock is a apathetic money manager. They don't do anything. They collect assets and charge a fee and sit on them. They're passive. So they're not going to do good things and they're not going to do bad things. But they're not going to have Bitcoin move out of their custody. Unless, and maybe there's some bond or something they buy, I doubt it, but that Bitcoin is just going to sit there. So the more Bitcoin they accumulate, the more Bitcoin that's never going to move and never going to do anything. Obviously the large whales in Bitcoin, they're not spending money all the time, but if you take a look at what the investments of people like Roger Ver and the Winklevi and some of the other large Bitcoin holders were doing back 10 years ago, they were investing in companies, giving people Bitcoin to build services to create an ecosystem that made the Bitcoin that they still retain more valuable. Is BlackRock going to do that? Absolutely not. They're going to sit on the Bitcoin and charge a management fee. So it's the same problem with capital markets where passive index investing is killing price discovery, because you invest in a company, you invest in an index, and the index invests in the highest valued stock, whether or not that stock earns its rate of return. Similar things could happen with Bitcoin. It's up to us to actually do stuff with the network and things like ordinals, where people are, bringing JPEGs to Bitcoin. I think it's a great thing. I know some people think it's trash that's on the blockchain, but at least we're using it. If ordinals are the only thing that keeps people using Bitcoin and spending Bitcoin, that's the best thing, because now we have the miners have income in Bitcoin for people using the network that they're there to upkeep, versus BlackRock and other asset managers. All they want to do is sit on assets and charge a fee.
Yeah. Is there a size at which you're like, okay, if BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF gets this big, then there is a risk to the Bitcoin network? If it's too big, it could.
I'm sure somebody could tease that out if there's a particular. So I have no idea.
Okay. So let's take a little look now. So I want to ask, in your experience, when it comes to the most kind of middle finger, fuck you to the TradFi system, what has that been in crypto's journey? Was it the inception of Bitcoin? Has it been something along the way? You've obviously had a lot of whys since you've been in crypto, and you are kind of a vigilante in the space. What has been the biggest kind of fuck you to the traditional system?
I think that it just shows the worthlessness of this thing called fiat money, and the extreme that what was a great invention at the time, probably back a few hundred years ago when governments started using paper money, has now become this perversion where everyone is just racing to print as much of it as possible and degrade the value of human labor in the countries in which it's printed.
So first of all, what is some of the, let's say, tokens that you're most excited about this year?
So obviously the Solana ecosystem is super vibrant, super vocal, having a lot of fun trading. And the coin's gone from, I think, $7 at the FTX lows, and now it's 110 or whatever it is. I think there's a lot of energy there. I ultimately think Solana is a dog shit blockchain. Doesn't matter. But people like to trade it. People are vocal about it. People hate it and love it. And you want energy, you want pathos. That's what you're trading. You're trading human emotion as evidence in the chart. And so I love Solana as a trading vehicle. The great thing about crypto is because it's such a free market that's devoid of all of the central bank fuckery, it actually trades pretty technical, and it trades very on a human psychological level. Big numbers like 100 mean something, or 200 or 250, right? That, and in an abstract way mean nothing at all, but it's a bunch of humans trading against each other, and without any manipulation, they're going to veer on these particular points. So I love trading things like this. So I think as my favorite trading shitcoin, definitely really Solana. I'll be trading it up and down, sideways, whatever, throughout the whole cycle.
So you trade on Solana, but you wouldn't necessarily build on Solana. 11th outage was a little sus.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this still a time and an opportunity to accumulate crypto? Because I think people that are watching from the sidelines will always wonder if they have got in that little bit too late. Markets right now are pumping. We've seen hovering around 50K for Bitcoin this week. Are we reaching the peak of this bull market, or in your eyes are things just starting, just heating up?
I think we're just starting. The real bull market starts once Bitcoin surpasses 70,000 and essentially the whole crypto market cap in aggregate passes what it reached in 2021. I don't know how many trillions that was. That's when things start getting silly. That's when you start seeing all the celebrities and all the influencers start peddling whatever piece of dog shit that they're getting an allocation on. That's when we know things are really heating up. Is it too late? Well, again, it all depends on what is your investment horizon. What do you want to do with this money? Is it, I want to make 1,000x in the next week? Maybe it's too late. You're probably gonna lose all your money if that's how you think. Is it, I want to beat the inflation and fiat debasement starting today? Great. There's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, there's others mega cap cryptos. Maybe they're not going to go up the most because of the law of large numbers and diminishing returns from now until the top of the bull market. But at least you'll beat inflation. You'll have one of the best performing assets, versus stocks, bonds, real estate that you could own. Again, I think it all depends on what it is you're trying to do. And there is no easy button. Obviously, everyone on crypto Twitter and TikTok and Instagram wants to say yeah, I started driving a Lambo 1 week after I started trading. Maybe you should join my paid group. Don't do that. That's how you lose all your money very, very quickly. Anyone who's good at trading spends all day trading, and it's a full-time job. There is no path. There's no shortcut to this. So I think if you're thinking in your mind, I need to make 1,000x on the next crypto I buy in the shortest possible amount of time, put down your Trezor or your Ledger or your MetaMask and go outside and go for a walk. Don't trade crypto because you're gonna lose all your money.
Crypto bros and gals going and getting fresh air, that ain't gonna happen. So maybe a crypto fuck up, because I think this is always something, you've been in the space for a very long time. You are a crypto OG. Everyone can make crypto mistakes. And I think people can watch shows like this and say, you know what, I want this lifestyle, I want to trade, I want to get rich quick, but it's not that easy. For everyone watching, it is not that easy. What has been some of your life lessons along the way? Maybe something that you can share.
So I always tell people in crypto, everybody's trying to fuck you. Don't trust anyone. And I think if you go into it with that mindset where, okay, someone tells you something, you're not going to call them a liar to their face. Say, oh, thank you very much. And then you go back and you verify that statement on your own. Don't take anyone's word for anything, no matter who they are or what program you saw them on, or, Vitalik loves them, or, they claim they were Satoshi, whatever. It doesn't matter. Do your own research and you'll save yourself a lot of issues. And if you feel like in the pit of your stomach.
Amazing. Arthur, thank you so much for your time. It was an absolute pleasure to pick your brains, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.